Welcome to the Raise Your Energy podcast. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook and have seen my stories, you already know what my plans are for December and January. I'm going to take a huge break from my life and go traveling. And in today's episode, I want to share with you why I'm doing it and what I'm trying to experience during this break. Stay tuned. At the end of November, I'm finally leaving my corporate job to fully focus on my business. But before I hit the gas pedal on my business, I'm taking the opportunity for a break. I call it a few different things. First, my freedom trip to celebrate my freedom from my 20 plus years corporate career. And then I call it a mid-career break, and we will talk more about that new phenomenon today. And then I call it as well a break from life. And that is really the most meaningful for me, and I will explain why and how you might want to think about doing something like it yourself. I've mentioned in previous episodes that I love going on trips or holidays now by myself for the purpose of spending real time with myself without any distractions. I have done it so far 2 times, last summer and this summer, and each time it was for a week. This time I want to extend the time and be very mindful of spending my time on this trip really by myself. You might be asking what I mean by that when I say to be by myself. We all lead very full lives with a lot going on, and even if we find the time to focus on ourselves with some mindfulness practices, we still hardly ever have time that we don't fill with actions, to-dos, or with our family and friends. Last year, when I was out of work with my burnout, I knew I had to take myself away from my life and leave home. I had to get to a place where I would not be able to distract myself with taking care of the household, DIY jobs, and going grocery shopping. So that's what I did. I went for a week to a hotel in the countryside without a car to go anywhere and without any activities planned. This week by myself was the most powerful week in my life. Sure, it was uncomfortable at times to really sit with myself and listen to the voices inside of me. But all that time I spent meditating, journaling, and expanding my horizon on myself provided me with so many positive shifts that I'm now a huge advocate for taking time off by myself. It's like going to a training camp. Sure, you get better over time when you practice something once or twice per week. But going to a training camp and focusing each day on your practice always gives you such a boost in development, doesn't it? You could not achieve it through weekly training back home. I kind of see it as a training camp, the me camp, where the focus is to do Mesearch, which is research on myself, Mesearch. So this time around, I will spend a longer time all by myself. My whole trip will last about 6 weeks, and the last 4 weeks of it will be spent by myself. Yes, I'm traveling to different places in these 4 weeks, but this is not going to be a sightseeing trip. I want to spend time in nature, walking and enjoying beautiful sceneries. But otherwise, a big chunk of my day will be spent on mindfulness practices and getting to know myself better. I really hope I can release a few things from my life during this time, and I hope to find out new things about myself. This might sound scary to some of you, and you might never want to consider doing this, and that's absolutely okay. It might not be for everyone. I am sharing it with you because I know what kind of quantum leaps it can create in your personal growth journey. And growth is not always pain-free or easy, but we always know afterwards that it's so worth it. So that's my main goal for the second part of my trip, to see what I can release and let go of, to make space for new things to step into my life, for new perspectives, new ideas, and finding a new version of myself. If you want to follow my journey, you can do so mainly through my stories on Instagram and Facebook. This is where I plan to share how I'm getting on. And who knows, maybe it does inspire you to take that next step in your growth journey too. I mentioned that I see this travel as well as my mid-career break, and actually talking about it with some people recently in my life and at work, it seems that more people than ever take such an opportunity to have a break in between jobs or when they pivot to a new direction in their work. In the past, it was more common for people to take time to travel, explore the world and themselves around the university time, maybe before, during or after university before starting the first job. Now there are more and more people taking a similar opportunity in between jobs. And the reasons vary. It can be for traveling and experiencing new parts of the world. It could be to recharge the batteries after 20 years of climbing the career ladder. Or it could be for leaving one career and taking a break to assess what comes next. Maybe a new career, maybe a whole new direction, or maybe even creating your own business. The reasons for this mid-career break are varied, but the need for it seems to become stronger. I fully support this. I think this is fantastic and impactful for our mental health and well-being. Instead of working after school or uni up until retirement, taking a break in between to assess your direction and values in life is not just clever, it sets a tone for the generations to follow. This is a great step towards having a healthier lifestyle and improved mental health. So how about you? Have you ever considered it? Maybe you have actually done it already. I myself will go just for these 6 weeks, but I have heard of people taking now 1 or even 2 years out of their career. This is awesome. I think this is something for all of us to consider and maybe reflect on when and how we could all build this into our lives, maybe in the next coming years even. I will make sure to report back to you via a podcast episode at the end of January of what I have taken away from my travel and what I all experienced. I'm also interested in how we can bring more of these breaks for ourselves into our everyday life. So we might not even have to have long breaks and avoid falling ill due to burnout and stress. Well, more to come on this next year for sure. I will share my Instagram and Facebook details in the show notes if you're interested in following my journey and being inspired. Come along and see what you can take away for yourself. I would love to have you with me, even if it's just virtually. And don't worry, there is not going to be a pause on the podcast. I make sure to record enough for us to keep going each Tuesday. And look out for a surprise present in the episode before Christmas and 2 really powerful episodes around the new year. There are lots of great episodes for you to come. And with that, I love you and leave you. Talk soon and bye-bye.